So when I first saw the doctor, that was last year almost, that was on, I think, November. Well, the team of the surgeons and the nurses, they asked me a couple of questions, they've asked me many questions, and one of them was, do I have any medical problems? Now, I thought about which problems could interfere with operation, right? And I decided to just list all of the medical problems that I remember that I have. So I said I have autism, I have Tourette syndrome, and I'm allergic to shrimp and oregano. And they thought that it wasn't much of a problem. They said I should see a psychologist because of my autism, and I saw a psychologist, and that they said that I need to see a psychologist for a few meetings and make sure that everything was okay, and that they want to see the signed papers from the two psychiatrists that I had met the previous year, and the 3 psychologists that I also had to meet in order for me to have the surgery. So I gave them all the documents that were signed the previous year for a different hospital. And they were good with it, and they said, okay, once let's schedule it, and they have scheduled it for June the 20th, and I had to meet them again on the 8th of June for a pre-op meeting. So I went to them, and they asked me again about my medical history. And when they've asked me about it, I went with my mom, and she remembered that I have a lung sequestration that I forgot to mention before. And it's not that I didn't mention it because I thought that it would interfere with the operation, and I decided to just not say it so they would let me have the surgery. It's not that. I simply forgot all about it because I've had the lung sequestration since I was born. And whenever people ask me about it, they would ask me whether it bothered me or not. And I would always say, not that I know of, and they would let me do whatever. Now, I was in an athletic team when I was in middle school and when I was in 6th grade too. And they asked me, do you have any health problems that might interfere with running long distances? And I always said I have a lung sequestration. They would ask, does it bother you? And I say, not that I know of. And since I could actually run fast enough to qualify for the team, they assume that it doesn't bother me, which makes sense. It never bothered me, not that I know of anyways. Well, for the surgeons, they had a different reason to worry about it. They didn't think that I might pass out while running. They thought that I might not wake up from anesthesia. And they said that I'm gonna have to see a lung specialist that would sign some papers and say that it's fine. So that's basically how my surgery was delayed. I had to see the lung specialist. It took 1 month. I managed to schedule a lung specialist pretty early. I thought that I could maybe, if I finished, no, even two weeks. It took me 2 weeks to schedule the lung specialist. Like, it took me 3 days to schedule it for 2 weeks later. And I thought maybe I could do it by the end of July. Maybe I could make it and do it by the end of July. And went to see the lung specialist, and the lung specialist said I need to do some lung testings. I don't remember the names of, but they test the volume of your lungs and stuff. And she asked me, why do I need it though? Because I never had any problem with my lungs before. Why do I need it? And even I had to get a referral to the lung specialist from my primary care doctor, and it wasn't documented with my primary care doctor. I had to find documents from when I was 4 years old and give it to her to prove to her that I actually have a lung sequestration, because she said I never mentioned it, which I think I did when I was 19. I think I did mention it, and I'm pretty sure she asked me, does it bother you? And I said no, and she just didn't write it. Because when I was 19 is when I moved doctors, and I had to get a note from the doctor to enter the gym. And that was because I wrote in the gym papers that I have a lung sequestration. And that's why they sent me to the doctor. So I know for 100% that I told this doctor that I have a lung sequestration, but she probably just thought, well, he's saying he doesn't have any problems, so it's fine, we're not gonna write it for whatever reason. Now I had to find the document from when I was 4 years old and give it to my primary care doctor, so she gives me a referral to the lung specialist who I scheduled before I got the referral. So then I had to go private. And I paid for it not a lot, like I think about 40 euros for the meeting. And the lung specialist sent me to the lung volume test and whatever. And they did a test, but they did not write me off as female. They wrote me off as male because to them I looked like a male, I guess. I think for most people nowadays I look like a male. But I don't know, maybe in other countries maybe in other countries you wouldn't recognize me as a male, you would think I was female. But the doctors there, they thought I was male and they wrote me off as male. And I didn't think it was a problem because I didn't know that men and women have different volumes of lungs. And I went to the lung specialist, and she looked at the results and she said, well, it's not bad, it's okay. And given the fact that you said you have only one fully functioning lung and like the other lung is only third functioning, that makes a lot of sense that these would be your results. And then she asked me, why do I need it though? And because I was fine until then, and she asked me, do you have any tingling? Do you have any difficulty breathing? Do you have any? And I said, no, I'm completely fine. It's just for my sex change operation. And she looked at me and she said, well, okay, the results are fine. She asked me then, what are they doing though? How are they making the vagina? And I thought that was really weird. And I thought that they're not making any vagina, they're just cutting off my boobs because I'm changing for a female to live my life as a man. And she was like, okay, you're gonna have to redo the tests because it says here that you're a male. And these tests were made in a male paradigm, and you're gonna have to do them with female paradigm. So I had to reschedule the test, to redo the tests. And even though I only found an appointment for like 1 month later, I managed to somehow get in between the line and find a new appointment for 3 days later. And I went, and the doctor there was completely baffled by my situation because she saw me as a guy and the paper said girl, they said female, and I insisted that I was a female this time. Like she didn't understand because in my language every word is gendered, so you're gonna have to gender everything that you are saying to a person. And she was completely confused, and of course she was an old woman and I feel really bad for her. And I told her, look, just stop whatever is natural to you. And I got the tests redone and gave them to the lung specialist, and she said everything is fine, everything is perfect. I don't believe you have a lung sequestration because everything is perfect. And well, I sent her note to the doctors in the hospital to do the operation, and they said that they can't schedule me for the next month, but as soon as they will find a spot, they would call me, and they haven't found a spot yet. And I said, if you can't find a spot before September, then I would like to do the operation after September, not during September, because I would be on vacation and that would ruin my vacation, and I don't want to ruin my vacation. And so far they haven't called, and I would probably most likely do the operation in the first hospital that I went to 2.5 years ago. 2.5, maybe just 2 years ago that I went there, because they have me scheduled to March. I don't remember which day of March, but yeah. And I wanted to say that after I got my surgery delayed, it was a really tough first month, and I was really stressed with all the doctor meetings that I had to do. And I also had to see another breast specialist because the doctor at the sex change place, he said that I've got a lump in my breast and I need to see a breast specialist. So I also had to do that and get some some notes to say that I don't have cancer, and if I do, I don't know how it would change things because I'm getting my breasts removed. But anyways, I had to see too many doctors this month, and I had to quit my medication that I took for 8.5 years because it apparently makes my blood to not clot, and they show it in the pre-op meeting that my blood isn't clotting, and I said I just switched to a new medication, to a new psychiatric medication to help with my Tourette's. So it might be that. I'm gonna ask the psychiatrist, and when I asked the psychiatrist, he was like, nope, that's the old medication that's doing it, and you're gonna have to stop taking it and redo the blood tests. And I did, and the blood test came out fine, so I had to completely quit the medication that I took for 8.5 years. So it made me all emotional, and all the doctor meetings were really tough. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to share it with the world, even though the world does not care about why my surgery got delayed and all the doctor appointments that I had to do. I have another pre-op on February the 23rd for the first hospital that I saw, that I didn't quite like the surgeon as much as I did the second one, but if my surgery will be delayed in like a year or so, I prefer the first hospital there. Also, most people prefer it, I think, because the waiting lines are like 3 years, and the second hospital is like 6 months. So usually it's like 6 months. So I guess the first hospital is better. My mom also prefers that I do it in the second hospital, so I would probably just do it in the second hospital. Even though it's like in 7 months, I'm gonna have to wait it, and it's gonna be fine. I'm not in a rush. I was in a real rush on May, July, and June. May, June, and July. I was in a real rush, but as the month ended, I realized I'm not in a rush. I thought I have to do it in the summer, so I will get August to get my shirt off and go to the beach for the first time. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna wear a binder and a shirt and go to the beach. And I did, and it was great, and my chest isn't that large. You see, most people don't really notice it. It's just that I notice it. And I realized, I complained to many people, and they were like, your chest is really small. No one is seeing it. It's just you. It's your imagination. You think it's huge. And I started working out more in the gym. and I really feel like better about it, and like it's not that big of a deal, and I can wait those 7 months, and that's it. So if your surgery is delayed, it's not the end of the world. Even if you just quit your anti-anxiety and antidepressants, even if you just quit them because you can't take them because your blood isn't clotting and you feel like it's the end of the world, but it's just that medication is running off. It's telling you that it's the end of the world because your body is used to something, okay? But it's not the end of the world if you're gonna have to wait another year, okay? Especially, and I want to say to trans kids too, it's not the end of the world to wait until you're 18, 19. I'm 24 and I'm doing it only now, and it's completely fine. Especially if you are a trans guy, you're gonna make it up. People after a few years, and I've seen trans guys who are a couple of years on T. I'm also a couple of years on T, but it's not as noticeable how long I'm on T because I'm taking lower dose because I have autism. But anyways, when they're like 3-4 years on T, no one even knows that they were ever trans. No one is thinking about it. They pass as men and they look their age they look pretty much their age. So you're gonna glue up, you're gonna get on with your peers, okay? Even if you're gonna be like late in a few years, it's gonna make it, everything is gonna go away. You're gonna make it up, you're gonna catch up. I wanted to say you're gonna catch up with your peers, you're gonna catch up with the rest of the men. It's gonna take a bit longer, but you're gonna catch up with them and no one will know you but trans, okay? So you can wait until you're 18, 19, 20, and it's not the end of the world. I told you, I'm 24 and it's completely fine. It's better to wait than be sorry, and some people are really sorry that they had the transition, and you don't want to be that. Even if you are 100% certain right now that you're trans, it's better to wait until you're 18 to make this decision, because it's really life-altering decisions that you can't go back from. That's it. Have a pleasant day or night. It's night right here. It was a really long video. I thought it would be 10 minutes, but I ended up rambling about other things. Yes, good night. Have whatever. Goodbye.